Let's get the party started.
Oh, baby!
When was the last time you shit your pants?
You think I'm a goddamn fool?
I shit my pants last night.
It's a beautiful planet. Well, it's a moon for sure.
I'm sick and tired of all this bullshit. Put that in your pants, folks.
What's up, everybody? Josh from the Clearing Waivers podcast coming at you for another week of the Clearing Waivers podcast. Hope you're all doing well in this fine week. Happy St. Patrick's Day. I think Brian is the only one wearing green, potentially. His lighting might be messing with me, plus I'm bad at colors, so he's the only festive one, potentially. But I do want to wish everybody out there happy St. Patrick Mahomes' Day. Let's not forget the reason of the season is Patrick Mahomes. We're happy to be here for another week on the Clearing Waivers podcast. Thanks again for joining us. We've got a pretty good round of stuff to talk about here. We're going to talk a little bit about the Royals roster construction. A little bit, maybe too early to kind of produce some predictions on it, but according to Dayton Moore and Mike Matheny, they've already kind of got it figured out, maybe down to just a few more options to figure out, but we're going to try to take a stab at what those are going to look like, as well as talk about some of the Chiefs roster moves that they've made over the last week or so. Naturally, we go a day late last week, and then they kind of make a big move the day we drop a new episode. So we're going to go back, grab that real quick, and then come back to some recent events that have taken place. And then we're going to end Clearing the Waivers with some March Madness talk through a Selection Sunday this last Sunday. So we know the matchups for the most part outside of the play-in games. We're going to take a look specifically at the Mizzou and Kansas matchups. And then we'll get into some fun shenanigans here. But before we do that, let's check in on the host here. Kitty, how was your week?
It's a good week. Kind of
Over
same
under
old.
on number of golf holes, 35.5.
It was under because this weekend was a rain weekend.
Not a great weather. Yep, that's true.
Terrible weather for this past weekend. So it's a real stayed at home. Just drank myself into a nice early bedtime.
Just sitting by and watching some conference championships.
That's right. Watching golf on TV was all I could do, and some basketball. So worked out just great.
Yep, good. Brian, how was your week?
Great. Let's get started.
Okay, gotcha. I like the efficiency. Let's get into it here. So we're going to talk a little bit about lineup and rotation of bullpen construction here. We've kind of all picked out one specific category here, and I'm going to have Brian lead off with the batting order / lineup. Maybe give us your opening day pick, or maybe some what's it going to look like in an ideal scenario. Go ahead.
Yeah, I love lineup talk, and it absolutely means nothing in the end of the day. But I still love lining up talk, and even if I have no say in it, here's my say: we got to put Witt at the top of the order. That's where he belongs. That's where he lives. Witt, right there. Witt Merrifield, I'm talking about.
I was going to say, we got to specify now.
That's right.
Because now that we've started the wave, there's no stopping the wave.
That's
Bobby
right.
Witt Jr. is going to be in the lineup, I think.
For the time being, we're going to consider Bobby Witt Jr. is not on this team.
Okay.
So Witt Merrifield's at the top. I love having Benny right there in the 2-hole. He switches you up righty lefty without sacrificing on base percentage. He's one of our best on base percentage guys. So I love having him and Witt right there at the top. I want to pencil in Carlos Santana at 3. I just feel like with his on base percentage and how many pitches he takes every at bat, that first inning could be hell for a starting pitcher to get through.
Oh, yeah.
But between those guys, they'd love to see pitches. Santana loves to see 4.2 pitches is what he's averaged per plate appearance over his career.
Yeah.
Benny's right there at 3.9, Witt 3.8. So, I mean, Witt, he can go up there and look for first pitch fastball fishing, but sometimes, I mean, he's really good at fouling off. Even if he doesn't take a lot of walks, he fouls off a lot of pitches and bumps up that pitches. So I got
1, 2, 3 and still be 15 to 20 pitches deep, and I love that.
That's right. And I think if you start off a bunch of innings with Witt batting, leading off with no outs, there's a pretty good chance one of those 3 guys is going to be on base.
Yeah.
And I think when one of those guys is on base, the absolute last person you want to see in this lineup is Jorge Soler, because he can really ruin your day, right? I mean, he's a prototypical cleanup hitter, huge power. He sees pitches too. He'll take a walk. So I love him in the 4-hole. I'm going to put Salvi at 5. He had a great year last year, but I'm going to have him protecting Soler. 6. This is where it gets a little bit controversial because I love my guy Dozier, but I also think Mondesi's speed and stolen base threat is such a huge weapon that I'm gonna slot him in here because I want Dozier behind him because Dozier also will look at pitches. He's one of our biggest pitches per plate appearance guys at 3.9 pitches per plate appearance. He doesn't have a problem taking pitches, and I want to give Mondesi the opportunity to steal a bag or two. So I'm going to put Dozier behind him, and then the 8-9 doesn't really matter. But let's just for sake of argument, let's put in Michael A. Taylor at 8, Nicky at 9, and if we do get the pleasure of having Bobby Witt Jr., for all the crybabies that say he didn't earn his way on this team and he didn't go level to level to promote himself, let's slot him in here at 9 and let him promote his way up the lineup as he produces, and you put him in there at a no pressure situation. Say, give us your glove, and if you hit 2, that's great. But put him at 9. Don't put any pressure on him. Any added pressure, I should say, starting your major league career after 2 years. So, I think that's the winning lineup. And they probably won't listen to me.
I think that's actually right. I'm right there with you for the most part. I can't really get too upset about Mondesi in the 6 hole over Dozier at this point because they're kind of both giving you the same thing. I think not necessarily consistency to a point, but both of them can just be absolutely scorched earth on at any given moment. So I definitely am into that. And to putting Bobby Witt Jr. at 9, you're also going Witt on the backside. So Bobby Witt is potentially another leadoff hitter. People talk about his pitch discipline should translate into a decent on-base percentage, and everybody knows about the speed and just overall aggressiveness of him. What he's shown already in that the botched ball to shortstop against the Dodgers, and he scored from second base. That's sexy stuff. So if he's able to get on base and produce on the base paths like that from the 9 spot, I am 100% in on that.
Second leadoff.
That's right.
I think I like it, but I'm thinking these guys are a little more old school, and they're going to put Santana. They're going to switch Santana and Soler to not have the back-to-back right-handers with
Salvi,
Soler and Salvi. That'd be just. I mean, they're still going to have it. They're going to have probably Dozier and Salvi possibly, unless they put Mondesi at 6 like you did. So, but either way, I'm good with either lineup there. Doesn't matter. Let's just get the double S boys or triple S. Well, Salvi, Santana, Soler.
Oh yeah,
those guys there get their at bats and we'll be good to go.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that stinks is Dozier probably going to affect his runs number on the year because he's got 2 turds behind him potentially.
If he's batting 7 or even if he's batting 6, batting 6 is not a ideal spot in the lineup either for run scored. Better get those ribs.
Let's look at that as like the 4th cleanup hitter.
Okay,
let's do it that way.
Yeah,
and then we could just kind of hope for the best at 8 and 9. It's good to have options. I mean, at this point last year we were talking about, I don't know, let's put Dozier in the 3 hole and see what happens there. It seems like there are really good options to go 1 through 6 at this point, with a lot of good upside and stuff with the 7, 8, and 9 spot. Well, 7 spot in particular, but
it's
Michael A. Taylor's hitting well.
Yeah, he is, and it was exciting that Dayton told us that in this offseason he was going to try to find middle of the order bats. And we're all like rolling our eyes saying, oh, yeah, right, we're never going to pay for those guys. But throwing Benintendi and Santana at the top of that order really lengthens that baby out. And I just love it.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
I like it.
I think we're gonna have to really start calling him Witt Jr. because with Whit Merrifield already out there, it's just going to get so damn confusing. Either Bobby Witt or Witt Jr. We're going to have to go with one of those two because this is getting confusing already. And it's only March 16th or 17th.
How about just 3-hit Witt?
3-hit Witt
instead of 2-hit Witt.
Call him Whitley and then Bobby Witt.
Maybe
Bob. I'm a big fan of Bob. Just straight up calling him Bob. I'm into that. Kitty, you're on point with the rotation here. What's your prediction about the rotation? What it's going to look like this year?
I think the rotation is pretty much set already. I can't imagine anything would change too much. I think you're going to go, how I put it together would be Keller, Duffy, Singer, Minor, Bubic as the top 5. So Bubic there is probably going to get squeezed out early in the season without that need for that 5th starter for those first couple weeks, which it always, it just bugs me the way MLB puts their schedule together at the beginning of the year like that.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's April. Here's 10 off days in April, and the rest of you get 0. Like, what the hell are you doing? I know you probably have a propensity to get more rainouts, but it's not like they also don't put everyone's schedule on the same set. They'll do, here's a Monday through Wednesday, then a Thursday through Saturday or Sunday, but the other team that's going to possibly have an off day doesn't have that same, so it just doesn't work anyway.
Right.
That they don't make up games in April because of rainouts. So stop putting so many off days in April. Just doesn't make any damn sense.
So dumb.
Well, I think they said that after they get through that first stretch with a bunch of off days, then they have like 12 games in a row.
Right. It just doesn't, it's just dumb. Oh, it's so bad.
Makes no sense. No sense.
All right. Sorry. Get off after that little small tangent there of how dumb MLB scheduling can be in the early season. I think after he's got Bubic in there as a 5 spot, I'm just kind of curious of what they're going to do if they need a spot start from somebody from tweak injury. What's going to happen with Santana? Is he going to, if he doesn't break camp with the team, are they going to have a minor league? Is he going to stay in the minor leagues with them, or I don't know what's going to happen to him. So I would think he'd be a possibility for a couple starts. Or then you've got Junis and Hahn in the bullpen that can give you some spot starts. So I think you're probably going to see more of those guys before we get to the minor league destined guys of Lynch, Kowar, or Lacey.
Yep.
I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see Lynch or Kowar or Lacey all year even. Just if we've got a couple options in house already with the Junis and Hahn possibilities, that I think it's going to take a lot more than just possibly one guy going down before we see maybe 2 or 3 have to need before those guys get a look-see at the major league rotation.
Probably could throw in Scott Blewett and Ronald Bolaños in there too as potential options if they're needed for depth for sure. Carlos Hernandez always goes unlooked after you kind of get through those big ones, and he pitched pretty damn well last year in his major league run, so he also could be an option in there. But yeah, I think I agree with you.
We're going to see the secondary list of pitchers before I think we see that primary list of pitchers that are
next
really
wave,
knock on the door wave. So which is it's a shame for us at the major league level watching games that we might not get to see those guys this year.
There's too much.
Hope there's a chance, but that's a lot to ask for those guys to want to come up.
Yeah, there's going to be a few things needing to happen in order for them to get worked in. I think you're right, but they could be breaking down the door as well, and then we could see a real interesting 8-man rotation. Let's go. Let's get weird with it.
Just a bunch of guys doubling up on starts here at the back of the rotation. You each get 4 innings today. Let's get it done.
4 to 5 innings. Yep.
You do it. Get your 4 in.
Let's see if you guys can complete this game with just 2 of you. Let's see what happens here.
That's right.
Well, kind of hand in hand, I got the bullpen duty. So I'll go through mine. I think the locks are pretty obvious as well on this with Holland, Staumont, Barlow, and Hahn. Gives us 4. I think pretty much a lock. Then I think the more than likely are Wade Davis, Kyle Zimmer, and Brad Brock. I mean, I think he's working his way into it. They were just talking to Matheny the other day about the weird armor slot. I think I saw that there's only 3 other pitchers in the majors that throw at a sharper and lower angle than Brock. So I feel like they're intrigued by that release and delivery. So I think he's got a pretty good shot at making it as well. Especially after I had Tyler Zuber mixed in here today, and he just got optioned to AAA a few hours ago before this. So I think Brock has probably made his case and will be in there. So that puts us at 7. And so I need 2 more guys. I think Richard Lovelady has pitched really, really well. It seems like the reports on him coming out of the front office has been really, really good, really impressed. His numbers are really, really good in spring training so far. Hasn't been optioned yet, so he's still in the mix for some major league reps, something to watch here as we go down the stretch the final couple of weeks of spring training. But I think he's done enough to kind of get a nod here, leaving 1 more spot. Like I said, Tyler Zuber's out, but there's still 2 names that I don't think I've seen optioned that I know. One pitched in the majors last year, I think the year before as well as a starter, but Jake Newberry. I was really impressed with some of his moments last year, doing pretty well in spring training so far. So he's got a pretty good chance. I would say probably the inside track as well on that final spot. But another Jake in the mix is Jake Brentz, left-handed pitcher who throws gas. I think he's hitting like 99, which is always fun out of the left hand. So I think he's gotten roughed up in maybe one appearance, so his numbers aren't great, but I think the Royals have been rumored to be pretty impressed with his upside. And with them not being real deep with left-handed pitchers in the bullpen, I get him, Lovelady going, and then that Angel Zerpa guy, I think is potentially somebody else that they want to get worked in as well. So I'm going to go with Newberry making the opening day roster. Like I said, I think he's got the inside lane for that. But it's going to be really interesting to see kind of what happens, because I think the ideal scenario is that 5 to 6 man rotation. And I'm not 100% sold that Bubic is the guy over Junis because of his cutter. It seems like everybody's been really impressed with what he's been able to bring to the table in spring training again. I think that those two guys for the potential 5th and 6th spots in the rotation are definitely something to watch going down the stretch here at the end of spring training. And that could directly affect how this bullpen kind of takes shape as well, because I mean, people are dying to see Jake Junis's slider out of the bullpen. They think that could absolutely crush at the bullpen, but the Royals have come out and said that they do want to keep him stretched out to be a starter. So I'm not quite putting him in the bullpen yet. It's going to be interesting to see what they do, if they'd rather option him to AAA for a month of not needing him just to keep stretched out, or if they try to give him a bullpen role and see how he does with a few innings here and there to kind of be a innings eater out of the bullpen. So I think that's how it kind of shaped out to me.
You are out of your mind.
I don't.
To have two Jakes in the bullpen, and one's not Junis.
Well, I showed my work.
Out
I showed
of
my
your
work.
mind.
I think it's there.
This Junis, I mean, you have to keep him stretched out in case there's an injury in spring training.
Correct.
But I don't think if that doesn't happen, they're absolutely putting Jake Junis in the bullpen.
We'll see.
This stuff's all lip service right now.
Could be. I'm not denying that. But
I think the Royals are excited about, like you said, his potential of being dominant for 1 or 2 innings out there.
Could be,
instead of getting beat up third time through like he seems to always do.
Yeah. I'm not against it. I'd love to see him out there, but I think it's undeniable that starters are more valuable to a team than relief pitchers are. And you don't want to give up on some guy who has shown a little bit of success and has experience as a starter in the big leagues.
I think it's also undeniable what he's shown as a starter, and he is Wade Davis, hopefully. He can't be a starting pitcher, but he'd be a goddamn great reliever.
Maybe. His slider is nasty for sure. We'll see how it all kind of shapes out, but I think I'd be intrigued by them going to a 6-man rotation with Bubic and Junis in there, and then having, was that leave 7 guys in the bullpen? And those are the 7 obvious ones that I kind of mentioned earlier.
If we were going 6-man rotation, I want Lynch in that role.
It's not happening.
I can't see any team going to a 6-man rotation when you're back to guys who are potentially not good.
Right.
And you're basically hoping that 2 guys back to back in rotation get 5 innings out of them. No way I see a 6-man rotation. You've got to be paying 6 guys $20 million a year to do a 6-man rotation.
And not to mention, last year we were talking about Singer breaking camp with the team because he was being undeniable. He was doing very well in spring training, and Daniel Lynch has not done great. His numbers aren't great. He's shown times where he's just throwing gas, and then breaks them off with a little off speed or a little bit of slider in their face. But he still doesn't put up the best numbers so far in spring training. So he's certainly not undeniable at this point. So
Josh,
I don't see them. We're the beacon of the Bobby Witt Jr. bandwagon. I know, but we're only saving those hot takes for specific examples with good backup argument for it.
Only the good spring training stats count. We've talked about this before. The bad ones, it's spring training. It doesn't matter. The good ones, like them leading offensive statistics in every category.
Locked in.
Oh,
Everyone's locked in.
This team's ready for a run.
It's time for Bubba Starling to finally break through and become the star that he always is.
AL home run champ, Bubba Starling. There you go.
Who needs pitching when you can lead the league in homers?
It's not a bad idea. I'm not
Good
against
point.
it.
Pretty sure the dimensions down there, same as in Kaufman. So we are ready to
and I
hit
mean,
the ground running
the
and
air is exactly the same. There's like no wind ever. It's prime. It's prime real estate.
Facing double-A pitchers sometimes.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. We don't want to talk about all that. Only the good ones. I like it. Well, let's move on. We've got lots of time to kind of keep breaking around. There's going to be more talk about how this roster is constructed. We're going to probably focus on it a few more times before we get the answer here, but we'll look forward to that. Let's move on here to the Chiefs. Like I said, they did wait till we aired an episode to do something pretty big, which was releasing Mitchell Schwartz and Eric Fisher. They're starting 2 offensive tackles. The moves did save about $18.25 million in cap space, kind of brought them right to that $182 million salary cap. Kind of got them right there. And then they did restructure a few players. But Brian, let's start with you here. What is the big impact of these 2 releases?
Well, you go from kind of a weakness that we found at the end of this year to it being a huge weakness once you have to release those tackles that were out of the Super Bowl. And I mean, I think it's one of those moves you knew you had to make. And it's one of those moves you kind of close your eyes and hit the button and put it through, because it's reality that, it's likely that neither one of these guys is going to be ready at camp. I mean, you never know with the back with Mitchell Schwartz, he may be done for good. And with those cap hits, you got to make a move when you're trying to still stay in that Super Bowl contention. So no one liked to see it happen, obviously, but it's something they had to do. And now they've got many holes to fill up, and they filled one up recently. That was
they did.
Huge impact.
Yes, they did. They did restructure Mahomes and Chris Jones contracts. There's rumors of Travis Kelce also restructuring his deal. And I've also heard rumors of a Tyrann Mathieu extension, which would also get him some room to, like you said, make some free agent moves, which they did yesterday, signing Joe Thuney. Yeah, I almost did it. We were practicing everything. Joe Thuney.
Joe the Thuney.
Joe the Thuney. Looney Thuney. There it is. He is a former offensive lineman for the New England Patriots, 28-year-old offensive guard, signed him to a 5-year, $80 million with a 32.5 guaranteed. I think I saw that his signing bonus was 17 and his cap hit this year was 4.5.
Yeah, something small.
So if they're already taking care of 2 of the $32.5 million, 20 of the $32.5 million guaranteed, basically making this I'm going to guess a 2-year contract at the very least. So hopefully they get a lot more out of him than this, but he hadn't missed a game since he entered the league in 2016, which is huge. He has played all 5 positions along the offensive line, mostly at guard. He has hit some tackle as well, but over the last 3 seasons, he has Pro Football Focus's best grade at offensive guard, which is ginormous. And I'm very, very excited about that. Kitty, do you have any commentary on Joe Thuney?
Good job, Thuney.
Okay, cool. Brian, how about you? I mean, wanted to see if you wanted to work in here. You can't take any shots if you don't get the ball.
That's true.
No, I think Thuney's like the perfect player for Andy Reid's system, because we've heard all through the playoffs and stuff that Andy works every guy at every position, through practices and stuff. So you have to know every position. Thuney sounds like he's built for that. He can be a dominant left guard. And, like you said, move over to tackle if you have to, move to center if he needs to. So, I mean, that's versatility is killer for this team that we saw injuries just kill him at the end of the year. And, I mean, I think, like you said, that his reliability and consistency is what they need right now. They need some stability on that line, and they need that experienced leader. Since we're losing Fish and Schwartz, we're inevitably going to bring in some young guys, and it'll be great to have Thuney to listen to, kind of coach them up. So
anchor, yeah.
And it's exciting that they're still talking to Trent Williams and a bidding war supposedly with San Francisco. So if it's down to us and them, and if we're still in the running for him, they could make that left side of the line dominant, have two of the best in the game on the same side of the ball. And also, how about come on home, Rodney Hudson? He just got cut by the Raiders.
Just got cut by the Raiders, yep.
Seemingly because they don't have any money. So, not cap room. They don't have money.
I think they still had, was it $2.5 million in dead money? It was more to release him than it was to keep him.
Made zero
sense. Which was interesting.
Made 0 cents. I would love to bring him back home. If you can somehow make this offensive line Trent Williams, Joe Tooney, and Rodney Hudson on the left side, just get a couple of bums on the right side. Who cares?
I mean, you still got LDT coming back. Another situation where if they cut him, it's more money to cut him than it is to play him on the roster.
Got Kyle Long coming in.
Kyle Long potentially coming in. Lucas Niang for whatever he could be potentially worth. Could be on that right tackle mix as well. And I'm not sure they don't kick the tires on Osentinel. See what he can bring back to that position as well.
But I think
it's some versatility too.
I think to that, it's a bigger point that Brett Veach is kind of saying what we've said before of let's build this offensive line to be a wall in front of Patrick Mahomes, and then kind of fill in playmakers with the draft and kind of guys on prove it deals type of thing. We need to build the line to be like the Packers we saw last year.
Build that wall. Build that wall. You talked about reliability of Tooney. He has only missed 41 total offensive snaps in 5 seasons. All of those came in the last 2 seasons, but like I said, he did start every game, so you do get a dependability there that you didn't necessarily have. I was reading Seth Kaiser's Chief in the North newsletter today, and he kind of comped him to Mitch Morse. He also talked to one of his buddies, Evan Lazar, kind of follows the Patriots a little bit, kind of get his read on it. And he said that he's truly a tackle playing guard. He's a very, very good, technically sound blocker, especially in pass protection. He's not the biggest dude, so the run blocking is not his strong suit, but he is still very capable to be a run blocker. So let's start airing it out, get Pat Mahomes a whole lot of time, and who knows, we could add another wide receiver in the mix because that market is super slow right now. Might get a pretty solid deal on guys like, I don't know, Josh Reynolds, Curtis Samuel. Dare I mention Juju Smith-Schuster would be fun. But we'll see how that all goes. It is very reassuring that losing 2 huge pillars like Fisher and Schwartz is kind of getting backed up, and there is a direction at this point to get younger, but still get dependable and make sure that concern is addressed this offseason and kind of rebuild everything around a certain guy. So I'm excited to see what else they do. I am on Trent Williams' watch. I do kind of keep looking at my phone, hoping that I see that tweet coming out where Twitter's blowing up, but nothing yet. So we'll see. Keep standing by on that. But we'll move on here to the final topic of Clear the Waivers. Like I mentioned, the March Madness has begun. Selection Sunday did see all the matchups, all 68 teams, who they're going to be running out and going after here. We're going to be kind of focusing on, like I said, Mizzou and Kansas being the big local schools. And actually, they both landed in the same region, in that nasty, nasty western region. Wichita State also potentially coming out of that west region, I believe, as well. So there's another local variety team coming at you. Also teams like Gonzaga, Iowa, Virginia, and your number 2 team, Brian, Creighton, in that nasty region. But let's talk a little bit about Mizzou first. Brian, what's your take on Mizzou playing Oklahoma?
I gotta take a breath here, Josh.
Okay. You gotta write a letter. You need to get a pen and some paper.
I'm just very confused. 4 weeks ago, only 4 weeks ago, the committee showed us who their top 4 seeds were, top 4 lines. Mizzou was a 4 seed. And at the time, people said, who gives a shit about what they are now? Doesn't mean anything. And I thought, well, I think it does mean something because we rate that well in the rankings and the efficiencies and all that shit, but they're paying attention to our resume. They see we've got some nice wins. So that's reassuring that they're going to judge this team by who they beat and who they played, and not because their offensive efficiency is not the best in the country. So that felt good. And then they came out and slammed them with the 9 seed, lined up to play Gonzaga if they were to get past Oklahoma. So that didn't sit real well with me, because I look at these teams around them. There are only 9 teams in the country that have more quad wins than Mizzou. They had 7 this year, quad win. Same as 5th ranked Creighton. Same as 3rd seeded West Virginia. Same as 3rd seeded Kansas. And we're a 9 seed. So that chapped my ass a little bit. And so I said, okay, committee, you ranked them. So let's take a look here at who they beat. They beat a 1 seed in Illinois. They beat a 2 seed in Alabama. They beat a 3 seed in Arkansas, a 5 seed in Tennessee, a 7 seed in Oregon, a 7 seed in Florida. 9-4 against tournament teams. 6 of those are conference champions. So then,
sounds like an 8-9 team is what it sounds like.
Apparently.
And the thing is, like, we've seen many Mizzou teams that have been on the bubble, at the end of it, and you're always looking and they show like bad loss. It's like some directional school that they lost to non-con or something. You have this horrible loss on your resume, and you look at Mizzou had 9 losses on the season, but I don't feel like any of them would be considered bad losses. They lost to Ole Miss twice. They had their number clearly. That was on the bubble talk. They lost to Auburn when they had Sharif Cooper, which we all saw that they're a different team with Sharif Cooper. He only played 12 games, and we were just lucky enough to be one of them. I think you can consider Georgia a bad loss, but they had an overall winning record, and they played without Tillman. So, I want to be like defending this team in front of the committee to be like, look at the resumes. Just don't look at the damn ratings and the metrics and all that shit. So, I rock him. Matt Harris wrote up an article today about that showed let's evaluate the teams that were seeded 6 to 9, and let's see how they stack up with the rest of these teams.
You can do them all?
No.
there's a lot of them.
So let's say Oregon, let's say, for instance, they got a 7 seed, 20-6, nice record. They lost to Mizzou head up. They lost to them early in the year. Oregon was without a guy, but they lost to Mizzou. USC's 22-7 is a 6 seed. Florida, 14-9, 5 quad wins. Oh, and they just lost to Mizzou at home. So they have the same number of losses at Mizzou. Lost to them head to head, but they're a 7 seed and we're a 9 seed. Feeding to the wolves. So I'm a little chapped at these seedings, especially for Mizzou.
Sounds like it.
I just think they got a raw deal. They put out some of the best wins you'll find in this tournament, and they got shat all over because their net rating was like 47.
Right. Well, like you said, they do face Oklahoma, the 8 seed. Oklahoma's currently 2-point favorites. It kind of seemed like Oklahoma was a very similar season than at Mizzou there. Oklahoma had 5 quad 1 wins and made it up to number 9 in the poll. Ended up a season on a 4-game losing streak and lost to KU in the Big 12 championship. Mizzou had 7 quad 1 wins, made it up to number 10 in the AP poll. Ended the season on a 2-5 streak, not really streak, but a 2-5 run. Lost to Arkansas in the SEC quarters. So very similar kind of paths and trajectories of those two. So it's interesting that they are meeting in the NCAA tournament in the first round.
All you need to know about Oklahoma is they lost to Kansas State. They are trash. They stink. Get them out of here.
And you say that lovingly.
Oregon has.
I say that as a K-State fan.
Yeah.
They were bad this year. K-State was horrible. If you're, you want to be an NCAA tournament team and you're losing to K-State, come on. Just anyone in Oklahoma cannot be upset about their seed. They should be a 10 or 11 with that loss.
Right. Brian, you have more fire. You have more fire to spit.
Oregon had two quad 1 wins.
Sure.
2. USC had 3.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a break. What are we doing here?
They got to fill up that far west region as much as they can.
God.
Let's move on to since Brian's good and hot on this. Let's move to the other side of the state line. Kansas playing Eastern Washington on Saturday. Currently 10.5 point favorites here over Eastern Washington. Kansas went 7-8 against quad 1 teams. Yes, 7 wins. Mizzou was 7-6, so not to brag, but it's a winning record against quad 1 teams. According to Ken Palm, they have the 59th best, most efficient offense and the 6th best defense in the nation in the season on an 8-1 run until they forfeited in the semis of the championship because they had multiple positive tests of COVID and pulled out. I think there's been rumors of some big time players potentially still being positive at the moment. Nothing's been confirmed. So this could have a really big effect on how this kind of moves forward. But Kitty, what's your take on Kansas versus Eastern? What is it? Washington?
Eastern Washington. Yeah. I thought that I heard, it was a couple days ago that McCormick has a good chance of being back. And if he's back, that really improves their chances quite a bit against not just Eastern Washington, but their next round game, assuming they get past that first round matchup.
Mm-hmm.
I think him and the Inanuma, I can't remember his Inamura, whatever, how I would pronounce his name.
Not going to be here anymore.
Not pay attention enough. But I think they were both contract tracing because someone else was positive near the team. So, but I think the other, Jalen Wilson, I think he may have tested positive, so he might not make it back till the second weekend if they're still playing. So
he is, yeah.
It just seems like this shouldn't be a problem for KU. So if they get McCormick back, they're looking good.
So why talk about it?
I don't really give too much. Tournament. This isn't on. K-State's not in it. They're not even close. It's time of the year. Really sucks when your team's trash all year. So
makes for a long season for sure.
At least I wasn't sweating the bubble this year. Done that before. That always sucks when you're just hanging on every game. Basically, your tournament starts in February 1st. You're in the March Madness already because every win or loss means dropping in and out of the tournament.
Look at you looking on the bright side.
That's right. Not a bubble team this year.
Not a bubble team.
It was better than that.
Yep.
No expectations can be a good thing.
Brian, I know you got a take on this. What do you have a take on Kansas and Eastern Michigan or whatever?
Well, I think Kitty said it best that the committee did a good job of finding the right teams to put in the tournament this year. They just did a horrible job of seeding them. And I know it's more difficult this year because they had fewer non-cons, teams playing all kinds of different number of total games. I get that it was harder this year, but let's say we're going with metrics, right? Mizzou's clearly the case, so they're going with metrics. Okay, so let's compare them to, say, Tennessee. In Ken Palm, Tennessee 21, KU's 22. Net ratings, UT 13, KU's 11. So these teams were right there, neck and neck, right?
Yeah.
So it's almost like, how do we separate these two teams? Oh, right, they played each other, and there's a 20 ball put on KU. Tennessee crushed KU head-to-head, and so that means Tennessee got the 3 seed, right? And KU's the 5 seed.
That's how I would understand
how this works. Nope. Okay. That doesn't mean anything. I'll also say you can take or leave whatever happens with these conference challenges and everything. But SEC Big 12 challenge this year, SEC won 5-4. And I'm not saying that means SEC is a superior conference. I do believe Big 12 is a better conference. But it's also ridiculous to say if you pluck Tennessee and put them in the Big 12 that they wouldn't finish better than KU when we watched them beat the shit out of them already. Yeah. So I think it's dumb to treat the Big 12 like it's 2 levels ahead of the SEC. I think the SEC is a really good conference this year. A lot of solid teams. They're lacking of the Baylor types, I think. That's going to, maybe get to the Final Four and win it all. But I think
that really might be the win that pushed KU over the top in Tennessee with their win against Baylor.
Sure. Yeah, that probably gave them a little extra than it should have been.
Yeah,
what's Baylor put together the whole season. So
and I think they're also getting a huge benefit of the doubt here. I mean, the team have pulled out of the conference tournament very unknown who's going to be there to play, and we're rewarding them with a 3 seed. And to me, it's putting them too high anyway. And now you're giving them benefit of the doubt that they're going to be that team still that you saw last. Like, I just don't understand the seedings in this tournament hardly at all.
Yeah.
Drives me insane.
And I mean, how much stock can you put? I know that nobody wants to play an 8-9 game, but you're going to have to win your games regardless. So I think every team's got to go in with that mentality, regardless of your seeding. You are what you are. You got to go win every game anyways. So you can obviously walk through a gauntlet, but at the same time, it's almost meaningless. We're putting a lot of weight into it.
And you got the mid-major team as the 1 seed in your bracket. You should be happy with that.
True. Well, how many quad 1 wins did they have?
Just a mid-major in Gonzaga, nothing to worry about.
Haven't lost. I do think they were 1-0 against top 25 teams or something like that.
They beat a few because they beat West Virginia and Iowa and Kansas. So they actually did a pretty good non-con. Notwithstanding, they were supposed to play Baylor too. That game, Baylor's other 18 pauses on the year.
That would have been a good game.
But
I guess God couldn't protect Baylor University like they all expected him to.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, another example of the committee viewing the Big 12 and the SEC like 2 levels apart is West Virginia. They got a 3 seed with an 18-9 record, the same number of quad wins as Mizzou. Mizzou 16-9, same number of losses, and the 3 games that got canceled for Mizzou were probably all likely wins. So you're looking at a team that should have been 19-9. Same or better record as West Virginia. It's just West Virginia played in the Big 12 and we played in the SEC, and we won the same number of quad 1 win games. Why aren't we viewed anywhere near the same as West Virginia? West Virginia's 3 seed, and we're a 9, getting fed to the Sharks
in the region of death.
God dang. I'm not mad.
Well, here's the bright side, Brian. This time next week, we will be talking about how Mizzou dismantled both Oklahoma and the unbeaten Gonzaga University, and we can celebrate their victory and talk about how they're just going to keep stringing wins together.
That's what's so maddening about this is because we've seen it before. This Mizzou team can beat anyone and they can lose to anyone. Like they play to the level of their competition almost all the time. And if you put them up against a juggernaut or a 2 seed, or if we get seeded what I view as properly, you're looking at dealing with a 3 seed maybe. Like they can go head to head with anybody except Gonzaga, because Gonzaga's on a different level, and that's what pisses me off. Like they totally screwed us. And God.
I look forward to Mizzou covering whatever their spread is, losing by 6 when they're supposed to be 11.5 point dogs. But
it'll be a 20-point game, I think, if they play Gonzaga.
You think? Interesting.
Gonzaga is very good.
Very good. Yeah, undeniable. Well, that's going to do it. We'll look forward to talking more about March Madness as we move on next week. Hopefully, KU is eliminated and Mizzou is pulling off Cinderella upsets and becomes the darling team. But that's going to do it for clearing the waivers. Let's get into shenanigans.
Yeah, it's time to play DFA.
First shenanigan of the night is going to be DFA, but we're going to kind of do a little spin on it. If you were with us back in when sports were canceled days, we did what we called Shenanigans, where we played games for 2 hours. It was quite a Hail Mary content production scenario going on. But we did come up with some fun games, and one of them we called Waiver Sharks. It's kind of a play on the old game show Card Sharks, but we're going to do kind of a sports spin on it here. And this one we're going to kind of stick with a theme of Royals projections. And so what we're going to do is each one of these guys is going to pick a category, pick doors 1 through 4, and they're going to randomly pick a number between 1 through 11, and then we're going to pick I'm going to let them know what the stat is, who's going to start as their first player, and then they're going to tell me if the next player is going to be higher or lower than that person. So I'm going to say Kitty won clearing the waivers arbitrarily. So you're going to be the first to pick door 1 through 4. Kitty, what do you got?
I'm going to go door 3.
Door 3. Your category, this is all Royals projections using Zips projections on Fangraphs. So
Wrong.
Your category is pitcher whip. Royals pitcher whip.
All right.
So I'm going to need you to pick a number between 1 and 11 to tell me your start point.
Let's go number 4.
Number 4 is Danny Duffy is projected to have a 1.37 whip.
That's
Okay.
not ideal.
Tyler Zuber, is he going to be a higher whip or a lower whip?
Goodness gracious. What a fun game you've given us.
I will say all these categories are the top 11 projected on the team in this category. So top 11, Tyler Zuber's in the top 11.
Let's see. Probably bullpen guy. Maybe. I'm going to go over. Higher.
He is projected to have a higher whip with a 1.42.
Not great from a reliever.
No, I was weighing that in my head. Maybe the reliever is going to have a better whip.
Next player is Chris Bubich, higher or lower than a 1.42 whip.
Man, I think I gave Duffy that one. I'm going to go higher again.
He is lower at a 1.39.
Oh, so close.
Right
Yeah.
in between them.
Right in
between
between
those
them.
two.
Threading
Damn
the
it.
needle. Kitty coming away with 1 point out of a possible 10.
That is not good.
Tough streak. We'll see what Brian can do. Brian, you have door number 1, 2, or 4 left. What do you got?
Let's go to number 3.
2 category is hitter war.
Okay.
Okay.
Just offensive.
Yes. Yep.
My
Number
goodness.
3 is Jorge Soler at 1.6 war.
Okay.
Your next player is Salvador Perez, higher or lower than a 1.6 war.
Jorge Soler is one of our best hitters. Salvi had a great year last year, but not usually that great. So I'm going to go lower.
He actually is going to be second on the team in war with a 2.7.
Holy shit.
Goodness gracious.
He's really
that's
good at
way
defense,
above.
Brian. So that's Soler's doing in is the fact he's a designated hitter.
You said offense.
Right. War. Hitter war.
Hmm.
If you're a hitter, you have war, but you also play defense. Anyways. Great showing. Glad I went 4 categories
What
here.
are you talking about?
Glad we have multiple categories here. So
This
Kitty,
game is so dumb.
do you know you want door number 1 or 4?
We're going 1 and 8. Let's get deep in the list.
Okay. That's good.
Because we're not gonna do it by getting them right.
Yeah, that's right. This category is the top 11 in home runs projected by the Royals.
All right. Might have a chance here. Probably won't, but let's see
Number
what
8 is Ryan McBroom, projected to hit 17 home runs.
happens. Okay.
Wow, I'll take that under.
Yeah, right. Will Jorge Soler have more or less than 17?
He better have more.
He is projected to have 30, so yes, more.
Is McBroom
Yes.
going to have 7?
Question.
17. That's
He
how
just
lame
needs
it is.
17.
a lot of pinch hit opportunities, and he'll
Yeah,
get there.
17 ABs. Yeah.
Your next player, Kitty, is Carlos Santana, higher or lower than 30.
I'm gonna go lower.
He is lower. He also projected to have 17.
Oh wow. I would have thrown him in the
Same
20s,
as Ryan
low 20s.
McBroom, apparently.
These projections are spot on. All right. I like it.
Yep.
Yep.
It's about to get dumber. Brewer Hicklin.
Who?
Brewer Hicklin is a outfield prospect.
I gotta go lower.
He is lower. They still somehow project him to have 13 home runs this year.
I need to look this guy up. He's gonna be mashing like that.
He might not get 13 at bats in major leagues this year. Next player is Andrew Benintendi, higher or lower than 13.
Ooh, that's close. I'm gonna go lower. I'm gonna think he's gonna go. We're gonna put him at doubles, guys. I'm gonna go at 11 or 10 home runs.
He is projected to hit 14 home runs, so it was higher.
Oh!
So you are done.
Devastating.
Hey, 3 is better than 1 though, and it's definitely better than 0. So
That's
Shut
true.
up.
Got 4 points today.
very good. So Brian's got to get 4 to tie, 5 to win of the door number 4 category, which is pitcher K per 9.
Oh God.
This is all pitchers. Bullpen is included here with the rotation. What's your starting point?
7.
7. Your first one is Grant Gavin. Bullpen arm.
Grant
Not on
Gavin.
the 40 man. Yep.
He's a top 11 guy.
Apparently, yes. His K per 9 is projected to be 9.41.
This has
You know-
to count minor leagues.
What did they project his innings pitch to be at, if you don't mind?
I don't know.
asking?
I don't know.
Okay.
That's not
kinda
important here,
curious.
Kitty.
I was just curious.
That's outrageous.
Does Chris Bubich, is he going to have more or less than 9.41 K per nine?
9.41. That's pretty high. 9.41. Bubich was a strikeout pitcher in the minor leagues. Not quite as much in the majors. God, this is dirty. What the hell was the name? Grant Gavin?
Grant Gavin. Yeah.
Double G.
Is he
Old Dub.
currently on the team?
He's in the minor system.
Or are
I
they
don't
just
think
projecting they're going to trade for him?
I don't think he was in spring training. So he's got to make some impressions this year.
9.4
Mm-hmm.
K per nine.
Mm-hmm.
God dang. For a starter, I got to go lower.
It is lower. Brian's on the board.
Yes.
Chris Bubich projected to have an 8.48
Not that
K
much
per
lower.
nine. Nope.
That's a lot. That's higher than I
That's
expected.
not too shabby. Next player is Greg Holland. Higher or lower than 8.48?
God, because I would put him right around that number. He doesn't strike out a ton of guys anymore, but he only pitches one inning. God.
It's nice to hear the thought process.
I
Yep.
mean, he probably still
Showing his work here.
averages a strikeout per inning, right? He's got to get one guy on Ks. But that's so high.
He overthinks this so much.
Let's go lower.
It was higher with a 9.98. You're about as good as I am on these 50-50 shots.
I hate this game.
I'm so bad at these 50-50s.
And it's based off bullshit projections.
It is. Zips is known for being
the worst?
pretty solid, but
Oh, okay.
I don't understand. I don't understand how some of these players, like MJ Melendez, was on the home run list.
How's he getting at bats?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how that works, but
Ryan
he's certainly
McBroom's
not.
hitting 17 homers.
They thought MJ Melendez was hitting 15.
Jesus.
I also learned that MJ Melendez's first name is Mervil.
Okay.
Whoa, that's cool.
I'd go by MJ too.
Mervyl. That's an awesome
I
name.
might go by-
like that.
I'd go by Mervil.
I'd go by Mervil, absolutely.
Uh-huh.
I'm in.
Prove it.
Start calling me Mervil Kitty.
Mervil Crot. There we go. So that was Waiver Sharks. Brian,
Pathetic.
obviously very good at it. That was kind of tough category. The K per nine is certainly a tough one, but I expected more from you in the war. I really, really did. Really did.
I mean, I really didn't take position into account.
Right.
When I thought it was
Clearly.
all offense, I was
Clearly.
just who's going to be the better hitter.
Right. When you're bad at things, it's obviously someone else's fault. You're right. You're right. So Kitty's going to kick off our next shenanigan, which is keep, trade, cut.
Just keep trade cut, gonna give it to you. It's Tuesday night, we're in the spot. Yeah, don't believe it, just watch.
So we did talk about St. Patty's Day is today, is when you're probably listening to this. So we went with some holiday mascots that we are keeping and trading and cutting. The ability to be those mascots on their respective holidays, to hold on and produce the powers, hold the powers that those mascots have every one of these holidays. So we went with a classic leprechaun. We went St. Patty's Day leprechaun. We went with Cupid for Valentine's Day. And I didn't want to get super, I mean, it would be a runaway if we were going to be Santa Claus. So I went with the Grinch for Christmas. So we're going to keep one of these, trade one of these, and cut one of these. We're going to trade for another holiday mascot that we would also like to be. Kitty, you won the Waiver Sharks, so you're going to go first. What do you got?
Oh, runaway, he says. Santa's a runaway.
This is pretty close. I'm
Who
gonna
doesn't want to
go.
be Santa? Who doesn't want to be Santa?
It's too
I
much
would-
work, man.
I'm going to cut the Grinch as my first move on this.
Interesting. Okay.
I mean, first half of that story, great stuff, man. The guy's just doing what he does, stealing presents, being a real jerk. And then
Great stuff.
he gives it all back. No conviction on this guy.
Yeah.
Guy's
true.
weak. So now, I mean, he doesn't do anything anymore. So I'm done with him. He's
Okay.
doesn't know what he's doing. He's too conflicted for me. I'm going to keep the leprechaun. It looks like a pretty fun little gig those guys got going on there.
Sure. Yeah.
They're just cobblers by trade, apparently, and bankers. So that's where they get their gold from.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, apparently they can grant you some wishes if you can trap one, but apparently if you don't keep your eye on them, they'll sneak away and do some little tricks for you. So
Yep.
really good stuff. I like these guys. These guys got
pranksters.
They are. I mean, and then once in a while, he'll show up in the hood, make a movie about it.
Yeah.
And just
With
Leprechaun.
IT.
The Leprechaun has just got a wide range of what possibilities. So I'm a big fan of what they bring to the table. And sometimes,
Wide range of shenanigans.
Shenanigans, as it were. And sometimes they can just sit around and do nothing at all, which I'm 100% in on that.
That's true.
That aspect of being a Leprechaun.
Okay.
So that leads me to trading old Cupid.
Mm-hmm.
He's a little bit too much of a sideline guy for myself. He just doesn't really get into the mix. He's just kind of hanging out, shooting arrows into people. Although I did find a great name for him. Was searching through what his deeds and misdeeds were, and someone called him the demon of fornication.
Ooh.
Because he's shooting all these random unmarrieds apparently and getting them all horny for each other.
Getting
So
them
this guy
horned up.
Horned up. So he can't be trusted. So I'm going to trade him. I think people really get into the spirit of Valentine's Day, and they'd enjoy being old Cupid for a day.
True.
So I'm going to trade, though, for Leap Day William from 30 Rock. I don't know if you watch that TV show, but there is a holiday mascot named Leap Day William that obviously only shows up once every 4 years. That's my kind of gig.
Sure.
He emerges from the Mariana Trench, and he trades. He got the gills and everything. He trades candy for children's tears. So if the kids are crying, he'll just throw you candy. So he's just a real solid dude. And you wear blue and yellow. Got to get your whole suit going on there. And Leap Day is a great day. It's the day to take your chances that you wouldn't do the rest of the year, because real life is for March.
Mm-hmm.
Leap Day is the day you take chances. So I'm going to go around helping people take their chances on Leap Day. So Leap Day William is who I'm going with.
I mean, they might as well make the purge on February 29th, because you put that on like a court document and they're like, February 29th doesn't exist, you dummy.
Not a real day. Not a real day.
Throw it out. This case is garbage.
Exactly. It's perfect. So Leap Day William. People should check that out if you haven't watched 30 Rock.
I was going to ask you, are you Leap Day William? Can you tell us that?
I think you're supposed to, if you see an old man in a blue and yellow suit, you be nice to him just in case he is Leap Day William.
Okay.
They don't usually they don't come out and say it, but just be on the lookout for a guy blue and yellow suit on Leap Day.
Keep your eye on that Mariana Trench.
Yeah, if he comes screaming out of there on that morning of Leap Day, there you go. You might find him.
Cool. Okay. Well, since Brian's a big loser, I'm going to go second here. I'm cutting that leprechaun life. I mean, you got your gold, but you're lonely, man. You're a lonesome little leprechaun. So I don't think there's much to like about this. And the brokenness is only broken up by someone trying to steal your shit. I mean, you got a rainbow that's a straight up beacon to where your gold is. I mean, any Tom, Dick, or Harry treasure hunter knows exactly where your gold is. So you're constantly on the run. I mean, that seems like a whole lot of anxiety, and I'm going to pass on it. Leprechaun out. I'm keeping the Grinch life, because here's the thing. Every Christmas you get to plan a heist, and it's a big time heist. And I can 100% get behind that lifestyle. You get all year thinking about how those Who's detest you and how you hate Christmas and how you're just going to take it from them. But you have to do it differently every year to keep them on their toes. So, I mean, you go Grinch Oceans 11, Grinch Oceans 12. You got a recruited team now. I mean, I'm into
Talk about
it.
anxiety.
Oh, I love it.
But then once on Christmas morning, you hear those dummies singing again. You got to give all the presents back.
And guess what? You give it back, and you're the hero. You stole from them, and you gave it back, and they're like, "Oh, come sing and enjoy the Who feast with us."
I don't like it. The guy's weak.
I mean, yeah, you say what you want about the greed. I mean, he was lifting up a sleigh full of toys. Weakness is not his gig. He is a strong fella. Or Who? He's a Who, isn't he? So I'm keeping the Grinch life. I'm trading the Cupid. It would be fun to play God, but I feel like we could get a really good trade value from Cupid and give him to some of like the people who spend way too much time breaking down like celebrity couples. I think that they could have really the Therese Hilton or whatever his name is. I think we could really stir the pot up in Hollywood, giving him the Cupid abilities that we could get. I'm going to trade for becoming Jack Frost. One of my favorite things. I like cold weather for one thing, but the best season is fall. And Jack Frost is the guy who brings in the fall foliage. He kicks off fall. He works it right into winter. So Jack Frost, hero in my book.
I thought you were gonna be the snowman.
Michael Keaton. I mean,
Jack
he
Frost.
plays
I
a
thought that
really
was-
good harmonica. Real good harmonica on that Jack Frost.
Terrible.
That movie was terrible and very funny.
Never thought of being Jack Frost. I'll say that. That never crossed my mind.
I don't know if he's really a holiday character, but he's more of a winter guy. But either
That's
way,
close enough.
I'm into it.
I hate winter, so you can kick rocks from me as far as I'm concerned.
I feel like
Also-
I wouldn't have to find many Cupid lovers to be ordered to trade for a Jack Frost. I don't think.
No, I think you can get that one pretty easy.
Yep. All right, Brian, you're gonna take us home with your keep trade cut of holiday characters here.
Yes, and as the great Dave Damashek says, Kitty and I park our cars in the same garage. I'm right there with him in line, lockstep. I'm keeping Leprechaun. I don't know about your Leprechaun, Josh, but every Leprechaun I see always looks jolly and happy. And I mean, he's got his gold in the rainbow. He's on a heavy drinking holiday, so I feel like he's always got a mug of beer in his hands, and I want to be that guy. So
I think that's you projecting it.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure I've seen a leprechaun hold a mug here and there. Hey, they're playing all those tricks on people. They're probably a little tipsy.
A little tipsy. They've also got sugared up from the Lucky Charms, so that's probably true.
You find me a picture of a depressed leprechaun. I mean, you're not going to find it. So, Leprechaun, I am cutting the Grinch like Kitty did. Living in a cave in the side of a mountain sounds terrible to me. Outside of robbing families and then turning, having no conviction, just living in a cave just sounds shitty. Even though I like to be left alone.
Yeah, I was gonna say that sounds absolutely your speed.
Yeah, it's really half and half there for you.
You're not a Christmas person and you don't like people, so I feel like that's two top qualifications to be the Grinch.
Can you imagine trying to send a text out of a cave? You think it's bad, like trying to do it out of a
You don't want to
basement?
talk to anybody. So who are you talking to? You have a
I gotta
dog?
talk shit to somebody.
You got the dog.
I got to get takes off to somebody, man.
True. True.
So I'm trading Cupid because it's just too much pressure. We've all seen Married at First Sight, right? It's a hard job. So Cupid is essentially go around Married at First Sight and people. We see that's a hit rate about 1 out of every 8 times. So I don't want the pressure being Cupid and setting up people that don't belong together. So
Yeah.
I'm out on that.
Or the show Are You the One on MTV too. That was
Oh yeah.
that might be lower than Married at First Sight percent. That's tough.
Those matchmakers are god awful, by the way. But
They're really bad. Really, really bad.
so I am trading him for 4th of July character Joey Chestnut.
Boo.
The hot dog eating contest every year. I
like that.
love it. And my favorite part is having it on, and inevitably somebody walks in the room and they just start gagging. They're like, "This is disgusting," because you see his veins like bulging out of his
Oh, yeah.
head. You see him slobbering all over the place. Water's just falling out of his mouth as he's just shoving hot dogs and buns in his mouth. So I love you, Joey Chestnut. I want to be you. Thank you for giving me entertainment.
I think my favorite part about that is you used married at first sighting as a verb. Married at first sighting people is very fun. It's very fun to me.
I don't want that job,
I
tough.
can't blame you.
but I would be better than the matchmakers.
I mean, you got a bow and arrow, and they have to do what you shot them, so they are that now. So
That doesn't mean
So
it
I
was the
don't-
right decision.
I mean, it is debatable. Yes, debatable, but they have no choice. They're gonna start boinking real soon.
Which I'm also not really thrilled about.
Which part?
People who don't really want to, I'm just going to make them want to.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's certainly a blur. Let's go ahead and start the cancel Cupid movement. I feel like that is overdue. It's not something we need.
Yep.
Pepe Le Pew, if you're on the chopping block, Pepe, then so is Cupid. Get out of
the
here.
hashtag
Cupid.
started, Josh.
Yep, cancel Cupid. Hashtag cancel Cupid. So with that, let's close it out here. We appreciate each and every one of you joining us for the Clearing the Waivers podcast this week. If you're joining us because you've heard us before, we appreciate every second that you've listened to us. If you found us through Royals Review, certainly cruise the site over at royalsreview.com if you aren't already doing so. Go check out Royals Farm Report, also our podcast brethren over at royalsreview.com. We haven't given them a shout out in a while, but the Heartland Pod, also a very good podcast. Our buddy Adam Summer and Zach Schwartz, Sean Diller, doing some great work over there. So if you're into politics, go check them out as well. But other than that, I think that's everything we have. Until next week, for Brian, Kitty, and myself, ta-ta for now.